Yes, as I said before, we are in deep.
Not that deep. This,
I was gonna say, I thought it wasn't that deep.
Let's say like an
This is our
episode
second
two.
episode. It just
Yeah.
feels like it.
This movie makes it feel like we're really
Oh
in
my
deep into the
gosh.
Burton
Oh,
verse.
well, that's a hint of things to come because this is the second half to our Planet of the Apes retro review. Now, just to clarify, to be very specific, there's been a lot to this franchise starting I think in the 60s, 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And we're specifically talking about the Tim Burton, it being Tim Burton month. We're talking about the Tim Burton version of Planet of the Apes, which I think it was supposed to be a franchise. But as we will discover in our observations and our reviews, maybe it's a good thing it wasn't. We'll see. But let's get into it, man. Let's start with some observations about this movie. Give us some facts and figures. Dana, for you, was this the first time for you watching this movie?
No, it really was. I remembered some things, especially when we talked about it in part one, and I kind of remembered the ending, which also, as we'll discuss, still had the same reaction probably from years ago of like, what the actual living fuck.
By the way, this movie was a success. It was made for $100 million, but it grossed $362 million. So
oh my goodness.
Worldwide gross. So it made money.
It made money, but I do remember it being pretty critically lambasted.
Yeah. The opening weekend it did almost 70 million. So, and in the US it only did 180. So it did most of its money the first week, and then people probably the word of mouth probably killed it a little bit.
I can believe that, man. I remember there was a lot of hype for this movie.
Mm-hmm.
You have Tim Burton taking on a franchise that was pretty beloved at the time, well remembered. And you couple that with a big name like Mark Wahlberg, or I'm just gonna stick to Marky Mark because you'll always be Marky Mark to me, who was a big deal at the time himself. And I think the expectation was huge. Tim Burton had already a proven track record by that point.
He had no bad movies in the 90s. I was just going through his discography. He had no bad movies in the 90s. And frankly, probably in the 80s, he didn't have any bad movies either. So you think this is a no-brainer, this movie, right? Tim Burton tackling the beloved Planet of the Apes. And you know what was wrong with this movie, guys? It's not a Tim Burton movie. It's Tim Burton, but it doesn't look like, you would never know this was Tim Burton if his name wasn't on the title, because it doesn't look like any of his other movies.
You beat me to it, Scott. I was gonna save that for the how good was it at the end, but you beat me to it. I'm watching this movie, and this is only the second time I've watched it. I didn't listen to my instincts from the first time, right? Lesson learned. No, but I totally agree with you. While I'm watching this film, I was like, this doesn't feel like a Tim Burton film.
No,
it really didn't look like it. I mean, and I can understand why. It would have been weird to see. I would have liked to have seen some of his visual details.
That's what would have made this work, right? You know what I mean? Because the idea on paper, Tim Burton takes on this movie, you're like, he's going to do an interesting take on this. He's not going to do it as a straight sci-fi movie. He's going to do his own Tim Burton shit on it. And he doesn't. He directs it. It looks like he just did it for the paycheck. He just didn't do anything special for it at all.
Yeah. That's it in a nutshell. I mean, we could end the show on that.
How good was it?
Yeah, how good was it?
I think we were pretty right on with the plot in general, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I think we didn't know specifics, but I mean, we were. It's a very easy thing to follow. I mean, it literally is the first one. They just had a couple curveballs. The curveballs weren't the same.
And the curveballs were they gave the apes the Charlton Heston lines from the first movie.
Exactly.
That was their curveball.
Yeah. What a twist!
And they made Charlton Heston himself an ape. But let's go in because I'm eager to get to the how good was it, because we got to discuss this.
I mean, part of me is just like, how to even go in. Like, I'm not gonna lie, guys. It took me. and I was excited to tell you guys, like, let's get started, just because I was like, I'm going to forget. It took me like a good 3 attempts to watch.
Let's dive in. The movie starts out, and we're at this space station. It starts out with a Marky Mark.
Yes, we're right. We're going around Saturn, and the first thing you see is not Marky Mark. You see Pericles, the chimpanzee, flying a craft, a small little shuttle kind of thing. And I don't know, some kind of warning lights go off, some kind of signal. He's screwing stuff up. And next thing you know, you see Marky Mark walk into the screen, because this is a simulation. You know, the monkey is supposed to be piloting this craft, and he screwed something up. So Marky Mark's got to come in and tell him he did it wrong and give him a snack to calm him down.
Reward him for fucking up. Right away, Marky Mark's presence took me out of this film. Right away.
He does not fit this film at all.
He's strutting through this space station, and I'm literally, he has a natural strut to him, right? Yes. Mark Wahlberg, before we knew him as the Mark Wahlberg of today, right? He was Marky Mark to us, right?
Yes.
And he was, is Marky Mark in the Funky Bunch.
He can't play future characters. He seems like he's from the streets, right? That's at least that's the attitude he has. I think Marky Mark, this movie made me realize something about him. He can only play very serious, like, crime dramas or the stupid guy. And I think in general, he plays the stupid guy very well, because I don't know, there's some kind of vacant eyes there. He doesn't, that his character from Boogie Nights is kind of the character that he can play. And this is not a character he can play. He cannot play, a science officer or whatever the hell he is, a pilot / science officer. It just doesn't come across.
No, he does not. He did not speak to me of any kind of science, anything in this film. He felt so out of place in this science fiction setting. Mm-hmm. Again, just him, a simple thing like just walking down the hallway of the space station, and he sticks out like a sore thumb. And no, I'm not trying to dogpile on Mark Wahlberg as an actor. I've seen him in roles where he was perfect. Example, like you just said, in Boogie Nights, playing the character of Dirk Diggler. He was perfect for that role. And he was you sympathized with the character. The character was not the smartest, nut in the toolbox, but there was something about the character that was endearing, and you were rooting for Dirk Diggler, and this, there was from the start.
Yeah.
I don't know if this was the way the character was written, or if him as an actor, he took it there. There was a cockiness and an arrogance about from the word go. He's defying superiors' orders. He's and basically the shit fest that they get caught in is his fault. It's all his fault.
Well, yeah, but so he's defying orders because he wants to go out and save his monkey, right? But you don't see the chemistry with him and the monkey, right? He's actually a dick to the monkey in the beginning of the film, right? He's like playing some kind of sleight of hands with the monkey, and he's treating it like it's an animal, but then all of a sudden, he's got to go out and save his monkey. It's like, it's not believable. It doesn't come across.
All of a sudden, he got to step out and risk everything for this monkey.
Yeah, which, a lot of cliches. Yeah,
it is.
Like, I mean, that part that even it was like a whole like, why won't you let me do my job? Why do you have the monkey do it? Just let a flyer fly.
Well, by the way, that does make sense. First of all, we didn't even mention this is 2029, guys. This is 5 years from now. So 5 years from now, we're going to have a monkey-based space program, because that's what this is, right?